Dear students and viewers, Assalamu alaikum. You are listening to Matiullah Khatak teaching you English. I hope this is our last lecture about the figures of speech. Our topic is the same, so our objectives are also the same. Keep in mind that figures of speech are taught in order to make your writing appealing and comparatively more flowery. So try to achieve these objectives at all possible cost. If you haven't subscribed to the channel until now, do subscribe it so that you may receive notifications for updates in the future. Our next figure of speech, which is called symbolism. Symbolism is widely used in literature, especially in poetry, drama, and novel. But atop all of them, it is mostly used in poetry. So let us define symbolism in its simplest possible form. A symbol, you can say in simple words, as something living or non-living which is used, which refers to some idea. The idea means it may be a hope, the idea may be of hope, it may be of strength, it may be of wisdom, it may be of love, it may be of bad luck or separation. So symbols or objects, they may be living or non-living, they may be birds or animals or flowers, which are used to refer to some idea. It may mean there are certain symbols which are used in one culture to mean one thing and they are used in another culture to mean another thing. So for example, a moon face is used in one culture as a symbol for beauty, but in another culture at the same time it is used for stupidity. I'm repeating, this is special concept, this special symbolism. It is used in one culture to mean beauty, and in other culture it is used to mean stupidity. For example, in one culture, a mother may say that the girl had a moon face, and then in that culture she may mean that she was very beautiful. The girl had a moon face. It may mean that she was very beautiful, but in another culture, a person may say to another person that you have a moon face. So in that culture, for that person, it means that you are very stupid. So in one culture it is used for beauty, and in another culture it is used for stupidity. Let us see the different symbol used in literature. Symbolism is the idea of using a symbol to represent a meaning. Symbol is used to represent a meaning. So a symbol is used to refer to something different, and that different thing may be an idea or quality. The symbols that are given do not have the same literal meaning as the thing about which they are referring. So the symbols which are used do not have the same literal meaning. They do not have that exact meaning which is attached to them, which is associated to them. That is never the meaning of that thing about which they are referring. Using symbolisms gives the speaker or the writer an opportunity to describe something in a more poetic fashion rather than simply saying what they mean outright. So it gives them an opportunity to say something in a more poetic fashion rather than simply saying what they mean outright. They do not say directly what they mean, they say it in an indirect way. So it is a poetic fashion, poetic manner. Poet doesn't say what he want to say in a direct manner, he says it in an indirect manner. He uses symbolism. It can be used to express an emotion or something which is a more general idea. For example, you can see a dove is the symbol of peace, or a rose is the symbol of romance and love. So dove is the symbol of peace, rose symbol of romance and love. There are some words which are used in symbolic sense which may have more than one meaning. For example, a chain, this can sometimes refer to being imprisoned. So a chain can be used for imprisonment as a symbol, but it can also be used to symbolize a union. So chain can be used for imprisonment and it can be used for union. In some cases, symbolism can mean different things to different people, as I told you about a moon phase, depending on how they interpret it. However, in most cases, symbolism is generally understood by the masses to have the same meaning. So there are only few of them which are used in different senses, otherwise most of them are used to have the same meaning for all the people in one culture or another culture. Let us look at some of the examples. An olive branch is used to symbolize a truce. A truce means ceasefire agreement. So olive branch is used to symbolize, is used as a symbol for ceasefire agreement. So truce means ceasefire. I offered her an olive branch after our big fight, as I didn't want to be at odds with her. So offering olive branch means you want to be at good terms with her. Black is the symbol of death. The funeral was full of black people wearing black suits. A broken mirror is a symbol of bad luck and separation. The mirror broke and he knew that things would not be good from there on. A cloud with a silver lining represents hope or something good in a bad situation. Every cloud has a silver lining, so I knew that getting fired from my job could only mean something better was coming along for me. In ox stands is a symbol for hard work and strength. He works as hard as an ox. The owl is a symbol for wisdom and being sage. My grandfather is just like an owl. He always knows the right thing to advise me when I am struggling in life. So the next figure of speech is called assonance. Assonance in simple words is repetition of similar vowel sounds in a sentence. They may be next to each other, or they may be in a sentence with a word or two or three between them, but they are vowel sounds which are rhyming with each other in a sentence within a sentence. So I am repeating this definition: the repetition of similar vowel sounds, not consonant sounds. Majority of them will be vowel sounds. Sometimes they may be, you can say, but they will come rarely in front of you as consonant sound repeating in a sentence. Majority of them will be vowel sounds. So an assonance is when you find a juxtaposition. Juxtaposition means placing opposite to each other of two words that have rhyming vowels. So the rhyming vowels are rhyming with each other. In the middle of them, next to or very close to one another in a sentence. So the rule is especially for assonance. The rule of assonance mostly applies to vowels which rhyme and not consonants. So this is very important, not consonants, but sometimes some cases of consonant will be also assonant. They will be consonant, but you must call them as assonant, but they will be very limited in number. The majority of the time it will be vowels. For example, the words stony and bony. So ni they are consonant sounds, but they are similar. They are rhyming. So they are also assonance, but majority of them will be vowel sounds, as you will see in the examples. Assonance is mostly used to add a certain interest to the phrase and cause it to be much more memorable to the reader. It is especially useful in poetry. So memorable in poetry. Using assonance is a good way to reinforce. Reinforce means to strengthen, to make powerful. What your words is used is a good way to reinforce, to make powerful your words, therefore drawing more attention to them and making them have greater effect or stronger effect on the reader or the listener. So let us see the example. The sun rose high in the sky, bright sky. High sky. So they are assonance. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. So you can see vowel sounds being repeated in rain, Spain, main, and plain. The man passed a glance. So sound. So this is pass, glance. This sound is repeated. Ons is repeated. I saw the fool and the fool was a cool. So oo sound is repeated in these, which is a vowel sound. A certain person hid behind the curtain. A certain curtain. The creek looked bleak. So vowel sounds are being repeated. How now brown cow. So this sound you can see is repeatedly repeated. There is a drum in the hum of the city. Drum hum. West is best. I like the west, for the west is the best. So west, best. The cat in the hat sat on the mat. So vowel sound getting repeated. The plane flies high in the sky as I watch it going by. Sky, by, high, fly, they are vowel sounds repeated. That cat had a snake. So all the words you can see are repeating a vowel sound. Men sell the wedding bell. Sell bell. On the mountain we light a fire. Lie fire. The frog sat on the log in the bog surrounded by fog. At the zoo I saw a kangaroo. Zoo-roo. There is a mouse in my house. Mouse house. The pot is hot. In the box there is a fox that is eating logs. So a paradox is a self-contradictory statement in its simplest possible words. Self-contradictory means that there is a contradiction within the statement. The statement given contains two opposing ideas. At its first glance, it seems to be meaningless, silly, or you can say funny or false. but on exploring the depth of the meaning, on analyzing the depth of the meaning, it turns out to be full of a lot of sense. So this kind of statement is called paradox. For example, we say a child is the father of man. So how is it possible a child father of man? But on exploring, on analyzing the statement, we come to know that it means that what qualities a child shows when in his childhood, he will show most of them when he grows up to be a grown up person. So this kind of statement is called paradox. Let us see the definition. It is a figure of speech which when heard or read can seem to be completely self-contradicting. The phrase may be contrary to what is expected in the situation and can lead to a conclusion which is not logically acceptable one. So the first conclusion that you make about that kind of statement is usually not logical, as I told you, but on exploration, on analyzing the statement thoroughly, you come to know that it contains an ocean of meaning. So the statement may appear to be silly, but in reality it contains a truth which seems unreasonable. For example, the church has huge amount of money, but it incurs high running costs every year. So this statement is self-contradictory. This statement contains two contradicting ideas. On the one hand, it says that the church has a lot of money, has a huge amount of money. But the other hand, it says that it incurs, it borrows high running costs every year. It borrows high running costs every year. So there is contradiction in the two statements. On the one hand, the church has a lot of money. On the other hand, it borrows a lot of money to run the system. But this makes one thing quite clear. And what is that thing that is made clear by this statement? It shows that the church spends lavishly. It spends a lot of money. The example shows that whilst the church has a lot of money, but at the same time borrows as well. It is seemingly a self-contradictory situation, but makes one thing quite clear, that the church spends money lavishly. So it is regularly used to have the reader or listener think in a more creative way. It makes reading more enjoyable to the reader by adding a hidden meaning to the text. So the first example says your enemy's friend is your enemy. A person may disagree. How is it possible? Why it should happen that my enemy's friend is my enemy? But on exploration, on analyzing the statement, one may come to the conclusion that it is quite right that my enemy's friend is my enemy as well. So the next example, he is a wise fool. So how is it possible for a person to be fool and he is a wise fool? It doesn't on its first glance, looking at it for the first time, you may say that it is something silly to say. It is funny, it is false, it is meaningless to make such a statement that he is a wise fool. But on exploration, one comes to the conclusion that it means that he behaves in a foolish way in order to make other believe that he is a fool, but actually he is very wise man. So the truth is honey, which is better. The truth is honey, which is better. It simply means at its first glance, you may think that how is it possible that truth is honey, but at the same time it is better as well. But on analyzing the idea, the statement, you will come to the conclusion that truth is better. So all these examples you can see over here, they have such contradictory ideas and they are paradox. What a shame. Let us go through all of them. What a shame that youth should be wasted on the young. I can resist all things apart from temptation. So you can resist all things apart from temptation, and temptation is the very thing which should be resisted. I always lie. Do not go into the water until you have learned to swim. Do not go into the water until you have learned to swim. Let God create a stone which he cannot lift. So how is it that God cannot lift a stone? God, everything is possible for God to lift as high as God wants. So there is contradiction in the statement. Nobody goes to the bar. That bar, it is too busy. So nobody goes, but it is too busy. How is it possible? A bar where nobody goes and it is busy at the same time, it means it is overcrowded. If you get my message, then call me. But if you don't get it, then don't call. So your mission is not to accept the mission. Do you accept your mission? So a man goes back in time and murders his own grandmother. So it means you should not think about the past. You should not go to go back in time. You should not think about your past. Otherwise, it kills your capacities, capabilities, abilities, because you will be blaming your grandmothers, grandparents, and so on. It is weird to not to be weird. I know one thing. So know one thing, know nothing. This is extreme sort of paradox. Anything that you do will be insignificant, but it is essential that you do it. So insignificant, but on the other hand, it is essential to do. So it means that you must do the things that come in your way because they will be helpful to you at a particular period of the time. So this is all about paradox. Our next figure of speech is called, so a pun is in simple words, play upon words. Play upon words in the sense that words are used in such a way that it gives two meaning. The context, if you are familiar with the context of the word, you can easily get the meaning of that sentence of that word. Otherwise, sometimes it becomes highly complex to get out of the situation, because pun is basically a complex sort of statement. It contains humor. It is difficult to understand, but if you are familiar with the situation, with the context and the meaning of the words, you can easily get the humor, the pun, and the play that is applied to the words. So let us see. For example, in a particular play of Shakespeare, when a policeman comes to a cobbler and asks him, what is your job? What do you do? The cobbler tells him that he mends the sole of man. So a cobbler's job is to repair the shoes of people, the shoes of people in common. There the policeman gets it in the sense of sole which is used for रूफ के लिए जो इस्तेमाल करते हैं. So the policeman asks him, who are you to mend the soul of man? वो इस सेंस में इसको लेता है कि ये लोगों की रूह की इस्लाह करता है, क्योंकि सोल का मतलब एक स्पेलिंग जो है वो SOLE है, एक SOUL है. SOUL जो है उसका मतलब रूह, और दूसरे का मतलब जो शूज़ का तलवा होता है उसको क्या कहते हैं? सोल कहते हैं. तो पुलिस वाला उसे कहता है कि तुम कौन हो लोगों की रूह की इस्लाह करने वाले? और फिर वो उसे कहता है, येस आई मेंड द सोल ऑफ मैन. सो देयर इज प्ले अपॉन words. Mend is used. The cobbler is using it in the sense of soul, talva, and the policeman is using it in the sense of रूह वो इसको सोल समझता है. सो देयर इज अ जोक, देयर इज ह्यूमर, देयर इज, but it is in the first attempt difficult to understand, but on thinking for a bit of a time, for a while, you can get a lot of humor out of it. So it can confuse you, but later on it can give you a lot of enjoyment. So a pun is usually described as a play on words. It is a play on words. It is a clever, witty form of figurative language which uses the words within a sentence to convey another meaning. Words are used in such a way that they give another meaning. The pun is often used in the form of a joke. So it is a joke where words can have more than one meaning, or words can sound like they mean something else. A pun is often used in day-to-day conversation in order to aid a sort of complex humor. So there is humor, but it is difficult to understand. Once you understand it, you enjoy it. Or situation, they are also used as a literary device. In this case, they are also used for humorous effect, but can also be used in order to encourage the reader to think differently about the situation at hand. So let us see some of the examples. Why is John Milton a bad game rival? Why is he a bad game rival? Because when he is there, there is a pair of dice lost. Pair of dice, this part of the sentence is played upon, is you can say punned. So because Paradise Lost is a famous poem, famous work of John Milton, and this is played upon, and he uses it as a pair of dice lost. Paradise Lost is played upon. The Helpers of Santa. Paradise Lost is a famous work written by John Milton. It is played upon. The helpers of Santa are known as subordinate clauses. So this one is played upon. It gives two meaning. In the one sense, subordinate clauses mean those dependent clauses which depend for their meaning on the main clause, principal clause. In the second sense, it is used helpers. A boiled egg for lunch is hard to beat. So it is played upon. Hard to beat on the one hand can be used to mean hard to digest. On the other hand, hard to beat, hard to digest, and hard to eat. Eating is difficult and digesting is difficult in two senses. In this example, she had a photographic memory, but she didn't develop it. Photographic memory can be used in two senses. In the first sense, it can mean a very clear memory. In the second sense, it can mean that she had a lot of memory where she could store photographs. So the two pianists who got married were well suited since they were always in a chord. So well suited can be used in two senses. It means that they were properly dressed, and it can mean that they were very good for each other. They were in true comparison to a fellow. It can be used in the sense of true fellows, well suited, very properly suited for each other. They were they were a very good match for each other. So well suited can be used, well dressed, and a very good match for each other. I didn't understand how lightning worked, but all of a sudden it struck me. So struck, it can be used, it hit me. It hit me, but in the other sense, it can use the idea came to me. So it is here used, the idea came to me, not in the sense of hit. The grammar lover had a lot of common sense. So comma is played upon. Comma can be taken in the sense of common sense, and it is used here as a common sense. What is the favorite car of a chicken? A coupe. So car is played upon. A favorite car is played upon. It can be taken in the sense of a car, and it can be taken in the sense of a bowel which is used for eating. I go to the dentist so often that I really know the drill. The word drill is played upon. It gives two meaning. Drill means here can be used in two senses. One sense can be practice, and the other sense the work the dentist the dentist does. So it is used here in the sense of practice. The person mean to say that he can do the same job as the dentist do. So the chicken who crossed the road is poultry in motion. So poultry is played upon. Poultry can be used in the sense of chicken, and it can be used in the sense of an insignificant thing. It was in motion. It was an insignificant, valueless thing. How do they party on a construction site? They raise the roof. So they raise the roof. The whole sentence, the whole part of this sentence is played upon. It means they make the roof, and in the second sense, and it means they make a lot. They make a lot of noise. The last one. Why can't the bike stand alone? Because it is too tired. So too tired is played upon. Why cannot it stand alone? Because it is too tired. In the first sense, it may means because it has only two tires. In the second sense, too tired, बहुत थका हुआ होता है, इसलिए वो अकेला खड़ा नहीं हो सकता. So this is play upon words. The next figure of is called allusion. Allusion in simple words means reference. Reference to what? Reference to some historical or political event without going into the detail about it. You just make a reference to the event. The event may be historical or it may be political, but you do not go into the detail. You just want to support your argument. You just want to support your current conversation. That's why you make a reference to some historical event or person or object. So जब आप बात करते हैं पकदामनी की, तो आप क्या कर सकते हैं? हज़रत यूसुफ़ अलैहिस्सलाम का हवाला दे सकते हैं. अगर अक्लमंदी की बात करते हैं तो हम हज़रत लुकमान रदी अल्लाह की बात का हवाला दे सकते हैं. अगर हम इंसानियत के लिए कुर्बानी की बात करते हैं तो हम हसन और हुसैन रदी अल्लाह का हवाला दे सकते हैं. इसी तरह अगर हम सोशल एक्टिविस्ट, सोशल राइट्स एक्टिविस्ट्स की बात करते हैं तो हम मार्टिन लूथर, नेल्सन मंडेला, इवन के हम कैद आज़म का भी हवाला दे सकते हैं. सो लेट अस सी द डेफिनेशन. इट इज़ a figure of speech in which an object, person or idea is brought to mind without directly mentioning the name of what is being referred to. In most cases, allusion is used to divert the mind to something which is not within the general context of the current conversation and is often left to the imagination of the listener or reader to create the reference for themselves. So sometimes it is not necessary that what is alluded to, what is referred to, is needed to be alluded or referred by the speaker. He just want to divert the attention of the mind of the readers from something that is under current discussion. So let us see some examples. There is no need to act like a Romeo for her. So Romeo is referred to in this, who was acting for Juliet. So there is no need to act like Romeo for her. The reference here is to the character of Romeo from the play Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. So the next example, sadly, a Pandora box of crime has been opened due to the bad living condition of the town. Pandora box as an illusion. As an illusion, a reference to what? A reference to a Greek myth about Pandora box. Pandora box refers to crimes. The next example, the new kid at school is like a new Newton. Here Newton is referred to, who is a very famous scientist in history. He is so clever. The use of illusion in this sentence refers to the intelligent scientist Isaac Newton. The next example says, stop behaving like your mother. So mother is here referred to. Her behavior is referred to. Allusion is used in this context to refer to a person who is mother. So in this context, a reference is made to a person who is mother, whose behavior is referred to, that your behavior should not be like your mother's. So the writer has not given any explanation, because the explanation is understood, then it is clear, because the speaker and the listener, they both share knowledge about the context, about the thing referred to. So you need to have a sound knowledge about the thing referred to, otherwise you won't get in its full sense. So this is all about allusion. Or first example, Romeo, for her is here Juliet. So Romeo was acting, doing a lot of for Juliet. So he has become a historical figure, and it is often referred to when somebody is doing a lot for her, for his beloved. So this is all about allusion. Thank you very much.